delicate question, Barbara, because there are some family members of the victims who don't like the idea of the scene of their loved ones being a quote-unquote tourist attraction, but they do believe that their loved ones should be remembered. What do you say to those family members who might be uncomfortable with Pulse being an attraction in that way?
Well, Pulse is not an attraction. It is a place of history. Something horrific happened there, and their lives and their stories should not be erased. This was a terrorist attack on our country. It was the largest attack on the LGBTQ community, and they should not be erased. And it is not an attraction in that way. It is a marker of history, and is a way to remember and to honor the lives that were taken away so viciously that night.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard me, as well as others, refer to the memorial and museum as a package, and that's because they are. That is part of the business model that makes the project sustainable, as well as offers two experiences.
And everyone's like, oh, it's making it into some sort of tourist destination, which it's not.
Let's consider what our visitation could look like. Currently at our site now, we have over 300 visitors a day. Then the numbers we have tracked did not include the opening day. It did not include June 12th. Or our Community Rainbow Run. Those numbers, it's too hard to be clicking. We're actually having someone there who stands there and clicks every single day. So considering that Visit Orlando has announced a record 72 million visitors in 2017, imagine if merely 1% of those visitors in the Orlando region came to Pulse. That would mean 720,000 visitors a year, an average of 1,900 a day. Dolphin Tours, which is probably an operator that you're very familiar with, had contacted us because they had people who were signing up for their tours and wanted to know if their tour included a site visit to Pulse. We met with them over 30 days or so, trying to figure out how do we make that happen. And so they've already started to bring, we've already hosted their first group of 60 visitors just a couple weeks ago. Just this past week, the YMCA hosted their very first women's leadership conference ever. Orlando was where they chose to come. And so they had contacted us as well because they wanted to start their conference at Pulse. I had the pleasure of giving them a tour.
And everyone's like, oh, it's making it into some sort of tourist destination, which it's not.
Well, I cannot tell you that I had a huge appreciation for the media right after the tragedy. I can tell you that the numbers I have seen in this past year, including the interim, have really been eye-opening. What we loved most about this Forbes article, it was a business publication who understood the economic impact of our project. Being covered by a national and local media has become the norm for us. But being featured in Forbes is being connected to a high net worth business audience. That leads us to this museum. In case you don't know about the economic impact of museums, museums in the United States employ 372,000 people. That's more than double that of the professional sports industry. U.S. museums generate more than $12 billion per year in tax revenue to federal, state, and local governments. The museum feels the largest economic impact is on the leisure and hospitality industry, generating $17 billion annually.
Orange County commissioners unanimously voted to give $10 million in tourism money to the OnePULSe Foundation.
Those millions, Pulse owner Barbara Poma says, will go to acquiring land to build a permanent memorial and museum.
Now, the board that oversees the tourist development tax was the first to approve the spending of the $10 million on the museum. That happened last month. And the members said among the things they considered was the ability of the museum to draw tourists to the area.